Chapter 51 Ironwood Workshop's Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 51 Ironwood Workshop's Plan. Luo Ning has already thought about it. As long as the idea of making black ironwood into armor and weapons can be realized, he will first equip all the guards in the territory with a set to strengthen the defense and combat effectiveness of the guards, although ordinary guards don't have much effect in front of extraordinary beings. But the number of extraordinary beings is limited after all, and ordinary guards can also play a key role in evenly matched situations, and don't forget that there are still barbarian tribes living in Wubei Forest and Wudong Forest. Luo Ning wants to conquer them. After eradicating the others, extraordinary beings, management, control and other matters still need to be completed by ordinary guards. Strengthen their combat strength is very necessary, of course. This is all a story for later. What Luo Ning is thinking now is that if William Carpenter can bring out the value of black ironwood as expected, he will set up an ironwood workshop to produce ironwood armor and weapons, and gradually try to sell it to external parties. Although the remuneration of craftsmen is relatively high, the daily salary of skilled carpenters like William is generally between 10 and 20, which is higher than that of the housekeeper in the castle. But the value they can create is not low. Luo Ning considered that in addition to carpenters, he also needed to recruit several strong young people to be lumberjacks in the ironwood workshop. The black iron tree is not an ordinary tree. Cutting it down is definitely a physically demanding job for ordinary people. It is necessary to ensure that the lumberjack is strong enough, so the investment in this aspect is not small. In addition, Luo Ning also needs to prepare iron tools such as axes, machetes, and saws. He can't expect the woodcutter to slowly grind down the black iron tree with tools such as stone axes or bone knives, right? So this time when going to Muma City, buying tools is also a must. == x C==O=M. During the dinner, magician Elrond, who had been busy for 2 days, finally appeared in the castle. During the recent period, he has either been undergoing treatment or on the way to treatment, and his mana has never been full. At first, the people in the town were still afraid of him, but as word spread about the treatment of others, Elrond didn't have to travel around, and people automatically asked him to come over for treatment. As a result, the hard-working magicians ran around, treating the injured while actively promoting the Lord's kindness. He told the people that his power came from Lord Ronan, and that it was the Lord's kindness and mercy that relieved their pain. In a few days, Elrond became a sacred doctor in the hearts of the people. As a person who all the sacred doctors were loyal to, Luo Ning's image in the hearts of the people became more and more mysterious and tall. Sometimes the people are surprised that Prince has managed them for so many years, despite maintaining a highly oppressive attitude, which makes them very disgusted with Prince. After Luo Ning came here, he did not issue any policies such as reducing the burden. He only sent out a magician and then recruited 20 servants. However, the people who led him had a good impression of him. Thank you for your hard work these days, Elrond. Luo Ning raised his wine glass and said to everyone with a smile, let us worship our holy doctor together. May the light warm us. McCann and others quickly raised their glasses. May the light warm us. Elrond smiled and raised his cup and drank it all in one gulp. May the light be with you all. The taste of beer in another world is not much different from that on Earth. Luo Ning can't drink it, and he doesn't have much interest in it. But both McCann and Elrond here are very interested in drinks. As a result, Prince drank half of the fine beer left by him, and Chahar, who was worried about everything, could only serve out medium-grade beer to entertain everyone. It would be better to store those fine beers. If a distinguished guest comes to the castle one day, and the guests can only drink sour beer, wouldn't it be a loss of face for the Lord? He was also planning in his mind to see when he could propose to the Lord to recruit a full-time winemaker for the castle. After having enough wine and food, Luo Ning began to make plans for everyone. The patrol of the territory for the past 2 days has ended. Let's get ready tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, I will take McCann, Elrond, Tom, Galen and 4 guards to Wuma City. He said, looking at Chahar and David, you two stay in Shanlin town. Chahar is in charge of the castle, and David, you take the guards and cooperate with the political officer Wilson to take charge of the security of the town. Chahar and David responded quickly, although there was no way to go out with the Lord to do errands, which made the two of them a little regretful. But they also knew that the Lord asked them to be responsible for guarding the territory, in a sense, out of trust in them. As for Tom who surrendered, he could actually be taken with him or not. However, considering that David was a little weaker than his opponent, Luo Ning finally chose to take Tom with him, covering his face and not afraid of being recognized by others. Baron Layson from Thane territory has left Swamp Town and went to Black Python City to celebrate Earl Hyde's birthday in the past few days. There is no need to worry about the threats there for the time being. Luo Ning said to David, "The main thing is to keep an eye on the savage tribes in the woods to the west and north for any movement. If there is an accident, we will retreat to the castle with the guards. All our things are stored here." David made a firm and decisive promise, "Don't worry, sir, even if I die, I won't let those savages set foot in the castle." Ha ha ha. Luo Ning smiled and said, "It's not that serious. I guess those savage tribes don't have the guts to attack rashly." After all the explanations, the dinner party was finally over, except for McCann. Everyone else was either practicing late or refining mana. "Come on, McCann, I haven't had a good fight these past 2 days, my body and bones are exhausted." Luo Ning took out his long sword and led McCann towards the inner castle courtyard. "Happy to accompany you." McCann followed. There is a big gap between a junior perfect knight and an intermediate and late level knight in terms of strength and agility. In the sparring between Luo Ning and McCann, the latter controlled the strength and at the same time limited himself to the tricks of the trade. For certain attacks, McCann will also stop to explain the purpose of the attack and how to deal with it. For Luo Ning, McCann was both a guard and a close combat mentor. More than an hour passed after these discussions. Even though the evening in the mountainous area was relatively cool, Luo Ning was still sweating. "Sir, your fighting skills have improved again," McCann said with a smile. He has the most intuitive feeling about Luo Ning's improvement. Compared to David, your speed of progress is really visible to the naked eye. Luo Ning was in a happier mood, so he was not polite. "Of course, if I am worse than David, how can I be his master?" Taking the towel handed over by Bella, Ronan wiped the sweat from his face and said, "Bella, go and prepare some water for me. I want to take a bath." "McCann, that's it for today's practice. I won't delay doing my own thing." "Then I wish you a good night." McCann took the sword and left the inner fort. There is nothing more comfortable than taking a hot bath when you are sweating, and Luo Ning also enjoys this process very much. Soaking in the warm water, every cell in the body enjoys a moment of relaxation. Dong, dong, dong. There was a knock on the bathroom door. Gallen's voice came in. "Sir, Political Officer Wilson said he has something to report to you outside." Luo Ning raised his eyebrows. This guy came to report so late. Could he have been working overtime? "Is the census done?" "I know, I'll come over when I'm done washing." Ronan thought for a while and said, "Gallen, ask Wilson if he has had dinner. If not, ask the kitchen to prepare some. He is a good boss who loves his employees who work overtime." New. Chapter 52 Population Structure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52 Demographic Structure. Many of the free people in Shanlin town trace their roots back to the Ozan-led coalition that encircled and suppressed the aristocratic resistance army. For example, Tom who surrendered, his father was a professional knight who died in the Battle of Hillwood. Another example is the valet Galen, whose father was a logistics soldier and also died in the war. Although Political Officer Wilson has nothing to do with the coalition, he is a domestic servant of the previous Baron. He is somewhat similar to Chahar before becoming a butler, so he knows a lot of words and has a clear logic in handling things. At this moment, Wilson was sitting on a chair in the dining room, with a bowl of thick broth in front of him and a piece of white bread in his hand. How many years? Wilson's heart trembled a little. He had not tasted such delicate white bread for many years, and had not tasted such thick broth for a long time. Praise the Lord, he took a bite and praised every bite. With the Lord personally ordering the kitchen to prepare dinner for him, Wilson's body was in full condition after a long day's fatigue. Praise be to the merciful Lord. Wilson has been wandering in Hillwood town for half his life, but has never found a satisfactory job. He even wanted to serve Prince, but was rejected by the other party. prince was a political officer in his own right, and he needed no assistance. Now that he is lucky enough to be Luo Ning's political officer, and is so highly regarded by the Lord, he feels that no matter how busy he is for the Lord, it is worth it. Not long after, Galen came to the restaurant and said, "Mr. Wilson, I'm free to see you now. If you're ready, you can come with me." "Okay, I'll come right away." Wilson swallowed the last bite of bread, then drank the last mouthful of broth, stood up resolutely, and followed Galen. In the study, the administrative officer saw Luo Ning and greeted him with a heartfelt greeting. Luo Ning motioned for the other party to sit on a chair nearby. "Come to see me so late. Could it be that the census has been completed?" "Yes, sir, except for you and the people who came with you from Wushanpu. Everyone in Shanlin town has been registered," Wilson said as he took out a large roll of parchment from his arms and respectfully put it on the desk. Luo Ning took the parchment, which clearly recorded the name, gender, age, and occupation of each person in the family unit in very detail. He flipped through several pages in succession and found that Wilson's handwriting was very clear and neat, making it look not messy. "I am impressed by your efficiency in completing the census in less than 2 days." His eyes turned to Wilson. "It is indeed the right choice to let you serve as my political officer." Faced with such praise, Wilson behaved very humbly. "Thank you for your trust." Luo Ning clapped his hands and applauded the other party, and the topic returned to the parchment in front of him. Although the statistics are very detailed, these can only be a bunch of raw data, and further processing is required to find useful value from them. Naturally, the processing of these data must be left to the administrative officer. Luo Ning cannot spend time on this, otherwise why would he spend money to recruit people? Registering this information is only the first step. "Next, I need you to help me organize this information." Luo Ning said. "For example, divide the age groups and then count the number of people in each age group. Another example is divide the occupation types and count the number of people in each, calculate the number of unmarried men and women of the right age, etc. These divisions are meaningful. For example, let's take the statistics of unmarried men and women of marriageable age. If the ratio of men to women is seriously imbalanced, causing all men of marriageable age in Shanlin town to be singles, Luo Ning, as the Lord, will have to consider where to get some women of marriageable age to solve the problem for the people. The problem of being single. Wilson wrote down all these requirements as part of his follow-up work. At the same time, he was a little proud because he did a preliminary screening after registering. "Sir, please read the last page." "Oh?" Luo Ning noticed the "please praise me" look on the administrative officer's face, and immediately curiously took out the last page of parchment. Total population, 1,993 people, number of families, 543, 14 years old and below, 410 people, 14-20 years old, 416 people, 20-30 years old, 505 people, 30-40 years old, 346 people, 40-50 years old, 243 people. Over 50 years old, 73 people, number of serfs, 1356. Free tenants 609, other professionals, 28. It turned out that Wilson had divided the population into age groups. Luo Ning looked at the political officer, his eyes naturally full of praise. "You did a great job of knowing my thoughts in advance, Wilson." "Your Excellency, you are so complimentary." Wilson smiled and responded modestly, "I only thought of part of what adults think, and there are still many things that I haven't considered." "No need to be modest. The completion of this mission has exceeded my expectations. If you do not do well, you will be punished. If you do well, you will be praised." This is Luo Ning's idea. I believe that the political affairs officer is just your starting point. If you work hard, you will have the opportunity to become my consultant in the future. The official positions in this world are not divided into first grade, second grade, third grade and so on in detail, but Luo Ning plans to design one. For example, for civil servants in the territory, he currently only has 3 levels in mind: civil servants, administrative officers, and XX consultants. Civil servants are equivalent to assistants to political officials. Equivalent to the administrative officer level are tax officers, defense officers, etc. At the consultant level, there will be similar distinctions. For Wilson and others, the most intuitive feeling is that as they upgrade, their wages will increase. In this way, it can give others hope and motivation to climb up. No, Wilson's eyes lit up as soon as he heard Luo Ning mention the word consultant. Although he still doesn't know what a consultant does, it sounds like he is one level higher than a political officer, and there are definitely benefits. Sir, I will try my best. I look forward to it. Luo Ning motioned for the other party to sit down, while he himself looked at the data carefully. First of all, he was very satisfied with the size of the population. A total of 1 guard, McCann, and Elrond came, and the population has reached 2,025. The prosperous population achievement requires that the registered population of the territory reach 3,000. Although it is still short of 900, it is not that far away. In addition, Luo Ning observed the distribution of age groups. If 15 to 40 years old are regarded as the prime age labor force, the total number is 1,263%. This is a very good ratio. Also, the number of children is 410, accounting for 20%, which is also very good. The only thing that surprised Luo Ning was the almost cliff-like decline in the number of people over 50. At this age, he can actually be considered an elderly person. After all, there is no saying here that having an old person in the family is like having a treasure. And there are no benefits for the elderly. For these people over 50, their physical strength and health will decline rapidly due to too much hardship in their youth, but due to the pressure of survival, they still have to participate in heavy labor. As a result, the increase in the mortality rate of the elderly is also expected. Although a bit cruel, this is reality. Even if Luo Ning is a lord, it is impossible to change this situation in the short term. That's a good statistic. Luo Ning praised here. I will take the time tomorrow to dig deeper into these data according to the classification I just mentioned. Data mining. Wilson had never heard of such a word, but he could understand it based on the context, so he remembered this thing invented by the Lord, so that he could brag about it to people who didn't understand it in the future. Also, I will go to Muma City the day after tomorrow. Luo Ning arranged the parchment and said, before I come back, I have one more thing I need you to do. New. Chapter 53 Villages and Groups. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 53 Village and Group. The current Shanlin town is like a plate of scattered sand. If Shanlin Fort's instructions are to be conveyed to every citizen, Luo Ning needs to arrange personnel to notify them specially. For example, when Luo Ning asked all the people in the territory to meet him at the pasture a few days ago, David, Tom and others on their fast horses almost shouted like gongs and drums to notify them. Luo Ning didn't want his professional knights and guards to waste time on such things. He needs some grassroots personnel to convey his instructions quickly. Therefore, he decided to divide this concept. Wilson, I need you to divide the people in the town according to their households. Every 100 or so households will be at the village. Village. Wilson's expression was serious. Just like the matter of squatting on the toilet, he had no experience in what the Baron was talking about now. Yes, village. Luo Ning explained carefully. Although 100 households constitutes one village, this 100 households is not a hard and fast rule. It mainly depends on the number of people. Try to balance the number of serfs and free tenants in each village. The so-called serfs are actually slaves who are attached to the Lord, cultivating the land for the Lord, and the Lord is in charge of their food and drink, as long as they do not starve to death. Although free tenants had personal freedom, they also worked the Lord's land and turned over a certain percentage of the harvest to pay the rent for the land. Although free tenants had personal freedom, it was only in a legal sense. In actual life, their freedom was very small, and they could become serfs if they were not careful. The other professionals in Wilson's statistics also did not have land, but they relied on their crafts to earn a living. Theoretically, free tenants and other professionals are freedmen, but in the population structure of Hillwood Town, the combined number of these two groups only accounts for less than 35%. Shanlin Town has 543 households. Theoretically, it can be divided into 6 villages. However, when you divide it, you need to ensure that the number of free tenants and serfs in each village is as balanced as possible, so the village can be 5 or even 4. As for other professionals, you can divide them into villages based on the location of their addresses. Be careful to divide them according to families and don't break them up as a family. Wilson quickly took out a small piece of parchment, then lay down on the chair and recorded Ronan's request with a quill. Just after hearing these 2 sentences, he felt that it was a bit difficult to handle this matter. In addition, each villager will choose a village leader for me, who will be responsible for conveying instructions from the castle and managing daily farming work. Each village will have 4 groups with group leaders responsible for assisting the village leader in management. In the future, you can convey instructions directly to the village chief, who will convey them to the group leader, and then to each household in person. Wilson was stunned and asked in disbelief, "Sir, are you saying that these people are under my control?" Luo Ning chuckled, "You can understand that, but there is one point I need to emphasize. These people can only help convey instructions, and sometimes be responsible for supervising the tasks I issue. I have not given them other rights, especially the right to punish other territorial citizens." Wilson nodded, taking that to heart. The village chief and team leader have to plow their land, and they have to do the work they have to do, but they can do it relatively easily. Luo Ning continued, "Of course, if they do things for me, I will also reward them. The tentative salary is 5 copper coins plus 5 kilograms of barley per month for the village chief, and 2 copper coins and 2 kilograms of barley per month for the team leader." "You are such a generous lord." Wilson admired that although it was a monthly wage rather than a daily wage, serfs or free tenants still wanted these things. "I believe that after the citizens know your policies, they will be very enthusiastic to serve you." Luo Ning smiled and was non-committal. "In fact, in this small town that has not established commercial exchanges with the outside world, it is difficult to spend wages. Even McCann and the others can only spend the money they receive within the territory, such as buying food from the castle, vegetables, meat, etc. Eventually, a lot of the money may come back to Luo Ning, only when the trade routes are open and caravans are willing to enter Shanlin town to do business, will the money in their hands become more valuable." However, according to Luo Ning's knowledge, no caravan has come to Shanlin town yet. Some of the supplies for the residents of the territory were originally purchased from outside by Prince, but now they need Lord Luo Ning to purchase them. It sounds like the people ask the Lord to do things. In fact, ensuring the survival and living conditions of the people is also one of the Lord's responsibilities. Every lord hopes that his territory will be large, the wealth of the territory will be sufficient, and the population of the territory will be large, from a manor to a small town, from a small town to a small city, from a small city to a big city. This is the dream of all lords. The same is true for Luo Ning, especially since his achievement master interface also has the achievement Conquer City and Territory, which requires him to own a city. Siege the city, own a city, reward, attribute points plus 200, energy essence plus 400. This achievement only requires Luo Ning to own a city, and does not require Luo Ning to capture a city. In other words, the developed city can also meet the requirements. Luo Ning now has Shanlin town, but this achievement has not been achieved. This only shows that this town and the city are different concepts. As for what kind of requirements can be regarded as a city, although Luo Ning doesn't know, it must be related to the population. In the final analysis, we still need to develop the population. Although the 2 channels of purchasing and procreation have a certain effect, it is also a good way to attract free people to join. To attract people, you have to go out and communicate more. Therefore, Luo Ning knew that if a territory wanted to revitalize, it was necessary to attract caravans to do business. When the manpower is sufficient in the later stage, Luo Ning estimates that he will have a commercial officer who will be responsible for the business issues of the territory. Now, there are only a little over 2,000 people in Shanlin town including myself, so keep everything simple and do it yourself when necessary. Sir, I have a question. Wilson looked a little unsure. Are these village chiefs and group leaders to be held by serfs, or by free tenants or other free people? Luo Ning tapped his fingers on the table and started thinking. In fact, whether they were serfs or tenant farmers, they all depended on him, the Lord, for survival. In his eyes, there was not much difference. Our current government affairs are mainly focused on farming, so freedmen in other occupations are not included in the scope of appointments for the time being. People like William the carpenter and Cullers the blacksmith are all free people in other professions. They just need to do their jobs well. So this round of village chiefs and team leaders will be selected from free tenants and serfs. The selection criteria are first of all people with relatively high cultivation level, and then the younger and more motivated the better. Luo Ning is also planning to set up an experimental field. When the time comes for planting, he can also bring these elected village leaders and team leaders over to watch and learn. Once they have learned it, they can then spread it to every village and every group, which will make it much faster. Okay, that's about it. Luo Ning asked Bella to get herself another cup of barley tea, and at the same time issued an eviction order. Just follow the requirements just mentioned. I hope you can give me a satisfactory answer when I come back from Muma City. Wilson looked at the parchment in his hand seriously, thinking about each item carefully. This matter is more troublesome. If he has any unclear questions, he'd better ask before Luo Ning leaves. Otherwise, when Luo Ning comes back and finds out that he messed up, it will be difficult to handle. Sir, I will sort out the data you mentioned after I go home tonight and report back to you tomorrow. He took the parchment of the population registration back and thought clearly in his mind. If he still had any doubts, he could raise them during the work report. Okay, let's go. Luo Ning waved his hand. He liked this kind of good employee who had to work overtime at night very much, thanks to Yi Hongyu and Shuyu 202-2032 for their tips, thanks to Mr. Honghong, a single man, for his monthly tickets, and thanks to Qing Shan and other gentlemen for their recommendation votes. New. Chapter 54 Farmland Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 54 Farmland Plan. The day before planning to go to Muma City, everyone was a little busy. New. McCann took Tom to make plans for David's next territory defense and inspection. Elrond rode a horse through the town, extending Ronan's kindness. Chahar was tinkering with the castle toilet plan, while Wilson was involved in dividing villages and groups after completing statistics. Luo Ning was not idle either. After reading the chivalric novel in his hand, he rode to the edge of the southeast to see how serfs and tenant farmers reclaimed wasteland. Farmers are selective in reclaiming wasteland. They don't just find a piece of land and start playing with it. They usually choose a place with relatively gentle terrain and soft geology, and try to avoid sandy and gravelly land. Fortunately, there is a large relatively flat area in the southeast of Shanlin town, which has brought a lot of arable land to the town. If it continues to be cultivated, it will probably reach 40,000 to 50,000 acres. In addition, there are also reclaimable areas in the northeast and more than 10,000 acres of land that are fallow, and the arable land area in Shanlin town is estimated to be about 80,000 acres. This is not even counting the dangerous west side. Luo Ning was shocked by the data he got from such an analysis. If a town has so much farmland, can it be said to be barren? As long as Luo Ning reclaims all the uncultivated land and then increases the grain yield per mu, Shanlin town should be able to feed a population of 20,000 to 30,000 people by relying on itself. This only counts barley and wheat production. If carrots and cabbage are added, the number of people who can survive is estimated to be a little more. It makes sense for Prince to force the people to clear land every year. Luo Ning did not rashly ask the farmers to stop clearing land. It would be a waste if such a large area of cultivated land was not reclaimed. However, the farmer's pace of opening up wasteland was a bit too slow. He rode his horse around the cultivated land, making the serfs and tenant farmers think that it was the Lord who came to supervise their work. They were all trembling and working hard, fearing that the Lord's whip would fall on them. On the unlucky guy, as an outsider, Luo Ning didn't easily point out existing technologies and working methods, and he didn't have the time to supervise how the people worked. The main reason why I walked around and looked around was to collect available information. After observation, he found that although the farmers worked non-stop, the pace of reclamation was not ideal. The reason was the lack of tools. Neither oxen nor horses are used on a large scale in land reclamation. They rely more on manpower, which naturally cannot increase the speed. Moreover, Luo Ning carefully observed the few cows. Not only were they thin, but the plows they used were also light plows. The soil they could turn was limited and they could not plow deeply. In addition, defects in the design of the plow and yoke resulted in a great waste of manpower and oxen power. especially when turning around when plowing was over. Implementing ox plowing and improving plows and ox yokes can increase the speed of land reclamation. After questioning, Luo Ning learned that these cows were the private property of the tenant farmers. If others wanted to use them, they would need to pay a certain amount of labor or food. In the past, when Prince was here, he would lend 2 or 3 heads to those in need, but he would also charge a fee. Of course, for Prince, more cattle are for food. Luo Ning had seen the black buffalo. After all, he personally inspected and accepted the 13 cows that Thane led to Shanlin town. This kind of buffalo is relatively large, half a circle larger than the flower grower's buffalo. Their strength can be imagined. However, although these guys are large in size, they are relatively docile in temperament. Especially under the training of the cattle herders in the Thane territory, being able to understand people's commands is a rare feat. Luo Ning has a total of 24 black buffalo that can be used for plowing, which is not a lot. He planned to wait until Wilson divided Shanlin town into villages before allocating the cattle. Of course, it was mainly for the use of serfs. Free tenants still had to pay a certain fee. Compared to Prince, he could reduce it a bit if appropriate. The problem of farm cattle can only be solved in this way at present. The number of cattle is really too small. As for the plow and yoke, Luo Ning could improve them. As a modern flower grower, he not only knew something about the curved shaft plow in history books, but also worked with plows and big black oxen in the fields when he was young. Ronan plans to draw the pattern of the plow and then give it to the blacksmith Callis in the town to make one for a try. There should be no big problem. While Luo Ning was busy improving the agricultural technology level of the territory, most of the nobles in the entire Wushan territory were preparing for the upcoming grand gathering. On August 28, Count Orson Hyde of Black Python City celebrated his 70th birthday. For ordinary people, 50 years old is equivalent to entering old age. For nobles, 50 years old is just the end of middle age. As for the Golden Knight, even at the age of 70, he is still strong and powerful. The Golden Knight's skin, flesh and internal organs have been tempered by fighting spirit for a long time, and its function and strength are several levels ahead of ordinary people. Extraordinary beings of this level, if there is no disease or injury, will not enter the decline period of their body functions until they are 80 years old. So for the next 10 years, Orson Hyde was still going strong. The Hyde family was already strong, and now that the Earl's grandson has the right to inherit the Wushan territory, the Hyde family's reputation has grown even higher, so this birthday party will be grander than ever before, which is why Baron Layson will set off for Black Python City so many days in advance, because it can indeed generate a lot of communication. In Wushanpu, Lowlands, as Orson Hyde's lord, would naturally not go off to celebrate the other party's birthday in person. However, as the Earl of Wushan City and the son-in-law of that guy Orson, his son must go on this trip. But the Earl was quarreling with his wife in the castle at the moment because Wiggins didn't want to go to Black Python City. When he was young, he was keen on attending various banquets. The more nobles there were, the more he liked them, but as he got older, especially in recent years, he began to hate attending such banquets more and more. He felt sick when he saw the nobles changing glasses, smiling on the outside, but not knowing what to say about him behind his back. Diane was going crazy at the moment. How could a son-in-law not attend his father-in-law's birthday party? She kept questioning Wiggins, asking him what he was afraid of. The quarrel lasted for a long time until the incident alerted Lowlands, who was resting in the back courtyard. When the old man sat in front of the two of them on crutches, both Wiggins and Diane could only hide their flags and turn off the fire. There is no reason for you not to go to Orson's birthday party this time. Rollins made the final decision loudly. Wiggins suddenly felt that he was so tired. It was too tiring to be this shabby earl and the heir to the Marquis. If possible, he would have wanted to use his own life to exchange for the rebirth of Grimes. Father, can't we just let Diane take Brayden? He was still a little unwilling to give up. Just tell the outside world that I'm sick and not feeling well. Can't I rest at home? After Lowlands heard this, he suddenly felt like he was a year older. He didn't want to say anything more, he just stared coldly at the sun in front of him. Soon, Wiggins was defeated. Okay, I'll go. Rolansi sighed inwardly. Let Tolu lead the team to accompany you this time. Tolu Vinyl is a disciple of Rolands, a canonized knight of Wushan Castle, and the leader of the first knights of Wushan Castle. Toru claimed that he only had peak silver level strength, but he had broken through not long ago, but this matter was not publicized and only Rollons knew about it. Wiggins was shocked. Father, Tolu is responsible for guarding Wushan City. He went with me. What should you do? Are you worried about my safety? Lu Lancy chuckled, his face suddenly condensed, and the crutch in his hand hit the ground heavily, the floor tiles shattered into pieces, and the hot fighting energy formed a whirlwind and rushed towards Wiggins on the opposite side. It blew the opponent, tables, chairs, and sofas away and bombarded the wall. Diane on the side couldn't help but be shocked. She didn't expect that the old man's momentum was still so strong. Ahem. Lolans coughed twice, looked at his son who was being taught a lesson, and felt a little relieved. He stood up and walked outside. Your father is just sick, but not dead. There is no one in Wushan who can take my life for the time being. New. Chapter 55 Breakthrough to Intermediate Level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55 Breaking through the intermediate level. The outside world is noisy and lively, and it has nothing to do with Luo Ning. Now he was just a down-and-out young baron who had just been deprived of his inheritance rights and was driven to a remote mountainous area. He had neither strength nor manpower, and was completely unable to attract the attention of nobles everywhere. This is good, as it can give him time to develop quietly. After briefly inspecting the process of land reclamation by the people, Luo Ning returned to Wushan Castle and drew the Chu Yuanli based on the memory in his mind. Under the guidance of Chahar, he personally went to the blacksmith shop in the town and found Callus. It's said to be a blacksmith's shop, but Kali's actually does more than just blacksmith's work. After all, iron is very expensive these days. Even if tenant farmers and freedmen have some iron tools, they use them sparingly and don't break them often. Therefore, Callus usually also makes bone tools, tools made of bones, stone tools, pottery, etc. With these skills, he can also support his family of 3. Luo Ning introduced his drawings in detail in front of Callus, and vividly described the use of the curved shaft plow, so that the other party would have a deeper impression. Callus was naturally surprised by the Lord's personal visit, and at the same time he was worried and excited about the work the Lord told him. Excitedly, the Lord agreed that as long as he could make this kind of plow, he would be richly rewarded. What makes him anxious is that he is afraid that he will not be able to complete it and will be punished by the Lord. It is very important to settle down in this remote place and get the protection of the castle. If you offend this new lord, the future life will be even more difficult than during the Prince period. New book bar. Callus forced himself to calm down and listened carefully to the Lord's speech. He found that this curved shaft plow was something he had never come into contact with, and the Lord described it as very dexterous and exquisite, so he might not be able to build it. On the contrary, Ronan had great confidence in Callus. In his opinion, the structure of the curved shaft plow was not complicated, and he provided detailed drawings. As long as the other party's blacksmithing skills were good, there would be no problem in making it. After explaining this matter, Luo Ning returned to the castle. It was already afternoon, and McKen reported to him on the territorial defense work. The loyal guard officer proposed the construction of a watchtower at the entrance to the town. At the same time, before the guard tower was built, he advocated arranging 2 guards to stand guard and register all people entering and leaving the territory, although no one seems to be entering or leaving now. In addition, McCann planned to let David and 13 other guards stay in the castle, while the other 12 men worked in groups of 3 to patrol the town, wheat fields, orchards, etc., mainly to maintain law and order. Luo Ning agreed with this plan. It could be seen that McCann did have 2 skills in guarding and his ideas were relatively clear. In this way, after everything was ready, early the next morning, Luo Ning took 3 extraordinary people, 4 guards, and the valet Galen and rushed to Muma city on horseback and in a car. Luo Ning had thought about this city ruled by the Iron Hoof family for a long time, but his plan could not keep up with the changes. It was not until he had arranged things in Hillwood town that he could take advantage of Baron Layson's departure from Thane territory to go out. To be honest, if Baron Layson had not gone to pay Earl Orson's birthday, he would probably have to think twice before going out to the forest town. When Luo Ning went to Muma city this time, it was for purchasing magic crystals, warcraft furs, land reclamation tools, wrought iron, etc. are all things he needs to purchase. The mountain road is swaying, but everyone is used to it. in the few days since I came to this world, most of them have been spent on the road. Sometimes he really wanted to use the contract scroll and the space ring to contract a flying giant bird. Unfortunately, he didn't find this type of magical beast, and he couldn't use such a valuable thing to replace his leg strength. Due to the presence of the carriage, the team could not move faster. Ronan could not move through the forest as fast as Felaton, however, it was still a lot faster than when we arrived. On the evening of the fourth day, the group arrived outside Muma city. Traveling in a hurry is obviously boring, but there are still little surprises along the way. At 0 o'clock today, Luo Ning received the third heartwarming gift package and received 30 attribute points and energy essence respectively. In order to create a top combat force in Shanlin town, Luo Ning continued to consume all his energy and essence on McCann, helping his knight level progress to intermediate 165/200, while adding points to McCann, Ronan accidentally called up Elrond's level panel. During this period of time, he had not paid much attention to the magician's strength, but unexpectedly, he found another surprise when he looked at it. I saw Elrond's level panel clearly displaying, Elrond fail, intermediate mage light, 4/300. In the past 10 days or so, Elrond, without the help of Luo Ning, relied on his own practice to improve his level by 4 points, an average of 1 point every 3 days. This may be due to the fact that Elrond has been refining too much mana every day recently, but in any case, the opponent is indeed a magician with the qualification of a 7th level great mage, and his strength is improving very quickly. Since Elrond can practice and improve his strength, so can McCann. It's just that the latter's qualifications are low, and it's hard to find that the improvement in strength is not obvious. At the same time, Luo Ning added points to the opponent, covering up the improvement effect brought by his own practice. Of all the people present, I am afraid that only Luo Ning cannot improve through cultivation, right? After all, his predecessor had no talent for cultivation at all. Fortunately, he has an attribute panel and can gain at least 1 attribute point every day, which translates into a very fast improvement rate. But this time, with the help of this heartwarming gift package, he finally completed the progress of the junior magician. When his knight level and magician level progress were full, a refreshing feeling of strengthening came to him. He broke through. Luo Ning's level at this moment is, level 2 intermediate knight, 12/200, 2 intermediate magician, 0/300. He still chose to add attribute points to the knight level first. After breaking through to the intermediate level, Luo Ning became busy with his training. He needs to practice the 2 spells of Light Body and Wind Blade that he got from Pedro. In addition, in terms of fighting skills, he needs to master the 2 fighting skills of Flame Slash and Fire Fist Bombing that he received from Prince. His super affinity reduces the difficulty for him to master fighting skills and magic, but after all, it is an intermediate skill, not as simple as the first level magic Qingfeng technique. He still needs to practice it repeatedly for a while before he can fully master it. Take the Wind Blade spell as an example. Its spell pattern is much more complex than that of the Qingfeng spell. He needs to outline a higher degree of concentration and coordination of mental power and mana. Luo Ning estimated that he would need to practice for 2 or 3 days before he could use it skillfully. This breakthrough brought about a big change in the mentality of the team members. McCann and Elrond were okay, mainly Tom. He did not expect that the eldest grandson of the Marquis, who was extremely belittled by Prince, was not only a professional knight, but also a mysterious magician like Mr. Elrond. The light body technique blessed on him made him feel lighter than ever before, and his speed increased by 20 to 30% in the blink of an eye. The conversion of such speed into combat power is also very impressive. He felt more and more that it was a wise choice to surrender directly instead of choosing to be as tough as Prince. Although he is wearing a mask now, Tom believes that one day he will be able to throw away the mask and reveal his true identity. At that time, Baron Layson from Thane territory might not be a match for Baron Luo Ning. No. There was no Baron Layson even then, right? New. Chapter 56 Arriving at Muma City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 56 Arriving at Muma City. The Ironhoof family already existed before the Orland Empire died. Although it was only a small knighthood at that time, it had quite a reputation. After more than 200 years of war, it gradually developed and became a follower of the Wushan family. After Marquis Wushan was granted the title of Marquis of the Kingdom, the Iron Hoof family was successfully promoted to the Viscount family, and its base was in Muma City. This city that has never changed hands for hundreds of years has a very high degree of stability, so it has attracted chambers of commerce from all over the place to do business here, making Muma City one of the cities with the most frequent flows of people in Wushan. The Taidou family's main business is all kinds of horses, ranging from old horses, draft horses, and pack horses, to ordinary war horses, sophisticated war horses, and excellent war horses. It is even said that there are war horses with the blood of Warcraft in the Iron Hoof family's ranch. Such precious mounts may cost thousands of gold coins. But having said that, to say whose mount is better, you still have to look at the Thunder Wind Chaser of Lowlands, the owner of Wushan territory. This is not a horse, this is a real monster, and it is a level 5 monster that rivals the Silver Knight. It is said that the Thunder Wind Chaser has the blood of the legendary dragon, so it looks like a dragon, and after being equipped with armor, its appearance is extremely domineering. The predecessor had heard about his grandfather's achievements since he was born. It was said that the galloping Thunder Wind Chaser would bring about a powerful electric field of lightning, mixed with Lu Lancy's own surging fighting spirit, and gallop across the battlefield, which was simply unparalleled. Enemy. It's a pity that even as the predecessor of his eldest grandson, Luo Ning rarely had the opportunity to get close to this monster mount, and could only take a few secret glances from a distance. Warcraft mounts are very rare, especially high-level Warcraft mounts. Generally speaking, people must first have the ability to subdue the mount and defeat it from the front, and then break through the opponent's spiritual defense and then sign a master-servant contract. Defeating Warcraft is relatively easy, but breaking through the opponent's spiritual defense and making them obediently agree to sign a master-servant contract is very difficult. Some arrogant or wild and untamable guys will not agree to it even if they die. In addition to these factors, the contract scroll is also very expensive and rare. Theoretically, only a 7th-level Great Magician has the ability to make this thing. Great Magicians are rare, and there are even fewer Great Magicians who can make spell scrolls. Therefore, people who don't know any powerful magicians generally don't even have the means to purchase them. This also made it very difficult for even nobles to obtain a powerful Warcraft mount. After Luo Ning and his party stayed in a hotel in a small manor outside the city for the night, they set out for the city. Early the next morning. Muma City is indeed a big city. In order to accommodate the horse trade, its roads are very wide. Along this horse-riding avenue, there are scattered night estates on both sides. This is very similar to the environment around Wushan Avenue. However, the manors here didn't seem to grow much food. Luo Ning saw more pastures, with many farmers grazing cattle, sheep, and horses. This is also a problem with the positioning of the Chidi family. They specialize in the horse industry and also sell cows and sheep. As for the wheat field configuration, it is not high. There are many caravans coming and going in Muma City, and there is no shortage of merchants selling grain. The money earned from selling horses and other livestock is enough to buy a lot of grain. Luo Ning will complete the development of the land in Shanlin town in the future, and the excess food can also be considered to be sold in Muma City. However, he thought of a question. If Muma City was completely surrounded, how long would the food inside be enough to support them? Soon, Luo Ning put this idea behind him. Everyone is a neighbor, and Muma City is not like the Thane territory that robbed Hillwood town. How could he have such a bad idea in his mind? What's more, Marvin Ironhoof, Viscount of Muma City, is a silver-level knight. In order to maintain the order of the caravan and the city, he almost has a knight order under him. Who among ordinary people would dare to take the idea of Muma City? After entering Muma City, Luo Ning stopped concentrating on his actions. He asked Tom to accompany Galen and the guards to purchase a batch of wrought iron. After returning to Hillwood town, he needed to ask Callus to build various tools. There are no iron mines in Shanlin town, and the demand for wrought iron is still very large. This time Luo Ning plans to purchase 2,000 kilograms first. On the market, the price of wrought iron varies according to its quality. It is generally in the range of 30 to 55 copper coins per caddy, and the price is still acceptable. However, if the wrought iron is made into tools or weapons, then there is no telling how much the price can rise. Luo Ning did not let Mikan follow Tom this time, which was actually a test for the professional knight. He couldn't always keep David or Mikan bound to Tom. it would be a waste of the value of the transcendent. Sooner or later, he would have to hand over the task to the other party. During this period of time, Tom's performance has been hardworking and uncomplaining, and it is indeed okay. If this is the case, the other party is pretending to surrender to cause trouble, then Luo Ning can only lament that the other party's acting skills are so strong that even he can be deceived. What he didn't know was that this release, in Tom's opinion, was a sign of the Lord's trust in him. Since the surrender, Tom has been either with McCann or David. He knows why the Lord arranged this, but he is a latecomer after all, and there is no risk of McCann's true combat strength being leaked. It is normal for him to be monitored by the Lord, but today, since the Lord led him as a professional to assist in the work, it shows that the Lord's trust in him has reached a new level. This is a good thing. Tom secretly vowed that this task of purchasing wrought iron would be completed without any surprises. On the other hand, Luo Ning took McCann and Elrond to visit the trading area of Muma city. The trading area is very large. There are various stalls on the roadside, some selling piglets, cattle and sheep and other livestock. It is very chaotic and noisy. The sanitary environment is also very chaotic. It is much worse than the farmer's market in my impression. What Luo Ning wanted to buy were magic crystals and warcraft furs. It was difficult to find small stalls for such things. They could only be found in street shops and single-family buildings of large chambers of commerce. Chambers of commerce, especially large chambers of commerce, can be understood as a powerful force outside the nobility, of course, although it is said that they are free. In fact, the owners of the Chamber of Commerce are basically related to the nobles, and some are even the retainers of the nobles, or even the nobles themselves. For example, the kingdom's Minister of Finance has more than one Chamber of Commerce under his command. They work for the king and also for the Minister of Finance. The larger the Chamber of Commerce, the more prosperous their business is, and shops are located in every city and town in the kingdom. There are several chambers of commerce in the trading area of Muma city, both from the Iron Hoof family and from outside. Luo Ning took the lead in walking into the Iron Shoe Chamber of Commerce and found that they mainly dealt with war horse-related business, including the sale of horses, matching saddles, vests, reins, etc., but no magic crystal-related business. However, the other party pointed out a clear path for Luo Ning. There is a building belonging to the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce in the northwest corner of the business district. Generally, magic crystals and other things can be purchased from here. The Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce was founded by Bolero Silva, Count of the Kingdom of Aljuin, and is the largest chamber of commerce in the kingdom that handles magician-related businesses. It is said that this earl's territory is very small, almost the same as an ordinary barony. However, the count's business is very good. The reason is that Bolaro's personal strength is very strong. Bolero Silva is not only a magician, but also a long-famous 8th-level mage. Whether it is the Kingdom of Aljuin or the Kingdom of Trisha, his strength is one of the best. His disciples are all over the place, and the exact number is unknown. This has also led some people to say that the Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce is just a chamber of commerce, but it can be regarded as a magician's association. After obtaining this information, Ronan took McCann and Elrond towards the Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce. I thought it would take some time to find the Chamber of Commerce building, but when I arrived at the northwest corner of the trading area, I saw the eye-catching building at a glance. This made Luo Ning think of one word for the first time, Mage Tower. After listening to the reader's opinions, and because I was a little confused myself, I modified some of the settings of the three characters, including McCann and Elrond, so that they can increase their strength through their own training until they reach the level corresponding to their qualifications. Others have not changed and will not affect reading. Chapter 57 The Price of 57 Spell Scrolls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 57 The Price of Spell Scrolls. The building in front of me is about the same height as other chambers of commerce buildings, about 5 or 6 stories high, but its shape is quite unique. X.com, the building of the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce has a cylindrical appearance, and the whole building is composed of bluestone. It is engraved with reliefs of warcraft and mysterious symbols, which is full of mystery. Luo Ning looked carefully and discovered the spell lines of the primary magic Qingfeng technique. Unexpectedly, he actually regarded the spell lines as murals. The building has a golden spire, which is like a slender golden needle thrust straight into the sky, making people feel extremely solemn and sacred. Sir, I feel the fluctuations of the spell. Elrond looked up, it seems to be coming from the top platform. Ronan nodded. He seemed to feel it a little bit, but it was not as clear as Elrond. Come on, let's go in and take a look. With that said, Luo Ning led the two of them inside. As soon as he entered the door, Luo Ning was surprised by the scene inside the building. The exterior of the building is constructed of bluestone, but the floors inside are made of wood. Adhering to the inner wall, a staircase spirals up and leads directly to the top of the building. Luo Ning stood on the first floor and looked up. He could clearly see rows of bookshelves on each floor. There was a faint smell of parchment in the air, but there was also a faint fragrance and a gentle blowing wind. Magic crystal chandeliers are generally rare, but in this building they are decorated everywhere as if they are free, especially the huge chandelier in the middle. Its brightness and shape are no less than the top modern luxury lighting. I don't know how many gold coins it takes to buy it. Gorgeous and extraordinary. Please, three gentlemen, how can I help you? The very familiar words made Luo Ning almost feel as if he was displaced in time and space. Luo Ning looked at the service staff in front of him. He was wearing a light blue robe and had a purple crystal pattern on his left chest. This was the pattern of the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce. Hello, I want to buy magic crystals and Warcraft leather. Luo Ning directly stated his intention. Sir, please come with me. Under the guidance of the waiter, Luo Ning walked into a small room on the first floor. There are no windows in the room, but the magic crystal lamp on the ceiling illuminates the space inside very brightly. Soon, an elegant gentleman in a tuxedo knocked on the door and entered. Luo Ning understood that the waiter just now was just an errand, and the one in front of him was the sales manager. As soon as the man came in, he bowed as a gentleman and said, My name is Hook, and I am very happy to serve you three gentlemen. As soon as Hook entered the door, he saw only Ronan sitting in the room, with Elrond and Makin standing behind him, and he knew that the young man in front of him was the protagonist, and with black eyes and silver hair. Hook rolled his eyes and said, May I ask your excellency, are you Baron Luo Ning of Shanlin Town? Luo Ning was a little surprised, but he didn't hide it. How did you recognize him? Dark eyes and silver hair are the signature characteristics of members of the Wushan family. As a citizen of the Wushan collar, I naturally know you. Perhaps due to preconceptions, Luo Ning still thought that he had black eyes and black hair, but he did not notice the special hair color. Hook's posture was very low. I heard from the waiter that the Baron wants to buy magic crystals and Warcraft leather. I wonder what quality you need. The quality? Luo Ning was a little confused. Hook immediately showed his skills as a salesman and began to introduce the magic crystal and Warcraft leather in detail. To put it simply, magic crystal has 5 colors: purple, yellow, gray, white, and almost transparent. This quality is determined based on the amount of energy consumed inside the magic crystal. Purple basically represents the full state. Yellow is at 50% to 50%, and white is at 10% to 30%. The more transparent it is, the less energy the magic crystal has, until in the end there is only an empty shell left. The quality is different and the selling price is also different. Luo Ning played with Pedro's magic crystal in his pocket. It was purple, indicating that the energy inside it was still full. As for the quality of Warcraft leather, it is easy to say. According to the level of Warcraft, the higher the level of Warcraft leather, the more expensive it is. Since Shanlin Town is close to the Wushan Warcraft Mountains, it is inevitable to kill Warcraft in the future, so Luo Ning asked about the production of Warcraft leather. Hook answered all questions without any hidden thoughts. In fact, there is nothing special about the production of Warcraft leather. It is similar to the production of sheepskin, cowhide and other leathers. My lord's territory is close to Wushan. If you have a chance to kill a monster, you can leave it to me if it's convenient. I'll give you a very suitable price. As a businessman, Hook spoke directly to the lord of Shanlin Town. As long as he can make money, he doesn't care whether the other person has inheritance rights or is a useless nobleman. I think we should have a chance to cooperate. Ronan really needs to prepare for future sales, he said, pointing to Elrond beside him. This is my follower, the light magician Elrond. This purchase of Warcraft leather is for him. Luo Ning smiled and said, although he is only an intermediate magician at present, he should be able to make healing spell scrolls. I would like to ask you, what is the market price of such a scroll? That with his introduction, Hook's eyes became brighter and brighter. He didn't expect that the handsome man with short gray hair in front of him turned out to be a magician with light attributes. Your Majesty the magician, please forgive Hook for being rude, that he stood up and saluted Elrond, and then, perhaps out of politeness, he also saluted McCann. May the light be with you. Elrond gave a slight greeting and threw an uplifting spell at the opponent. The light fell on Hook's body, making him feel like a spring breeze and his energy doubled. He is indeed a magician with light attributes. Hook turned to Luo Ning and said, Sir, the market price of second-level spell scrolls is generally 10 to 20 gold coins. Intermediate magicians with light attributes are rare, which also makes healing spell scrolls relatively rare, but its the effect is very good, so our Chamber of Commerce sells a healing spell scroll at a fixed price of 20 gold coins. Luo Ning was secretly surprised. 20 gold coins doesn't sound like much, after all, it's only 2 digits, but you must know that the average monthly salary of an intermediate knight is less than 2 gold coins, and it takes a year to buy a healing scroll. No wonder these are so rarely seen. What about other spell scrolls, such as the Wind Blade spell? Luo Ning followed up and asked. He was about to learn the Wind Blade spell and prepare to make its spell scroll in the future. The Wind Blade spell is a second-level magic. It is similar to the Fireball spell and several other spell scrolls. Our selling price here is set at 18 gold coins. The price of the Wind Blade spell is actually a little lower than that of the healing spell. Considering that light attribute magicians are rarer than those of earth, wind, water, and fire, the price is quite reasonable. So, if the healing scroll made by Elrond wants to be sold in your Chamber of Commerce, I wonder how much price you can offer to buy it. The 20 gold coins are for sale to the outside world. It is impossible for the other party to buy them from Luo Ning at such a price, so there will be a discount. Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce is the largest magician chamber of commerce in the Kingdom of Alduin. It provides services to thousands of magicians in the kingdom every year. We have always provided the greatest profits and various conveniences for distinguished magicians. Serve. Hook said with some pride and some humility. If ordinary people come here to sell spell scrolls, we will buy them at 20% off the market price. He paused, and then said with a smile, but if you are of high status, I am willing to use my rights to increase the proportion of the purchase price to the maximum, and the Chamber of Commerce will purchase it at 15% off the market price. This is also the biggest concession that the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce can give. Of course, if you have a spell scroll of level 7 or above to sell, our Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce will help you sell it for free, and we will not take any gold coins obtained. A 7th level spell scroll could only be made by a great magician. How many level 7 great wizards are there in the Kingdom of Alduin? Even Bellola Silva must pay attention to this kind of character and give him face. If the things they produce can be sold by the Chamber of Commerce, it will give Bellola face. This kind of free sale seems to be a loss, but in fact, the benefits brought by this high-level spell scroll have greatly increased the dominance of the Chamber of Commerce. Luo Ning only has a 7th level scroll in his hand, and he will not sell it to anyone else. The price you mentioned is very suitable. A 15% discount, which is 17 gold coins per piece, seems like the Chamber of Commerce has earned 3 gold coins. In fact, excluding the tax paid by the Chamber of Commerce to Muma City and the cost of renting the shop, it is estimated that the other party will not earn much. Even if Luo Ning wanted to negotiate the price, he didn't have much room to negotiate, so fortunately he didn't waste time. After learning about the spell scroll, Luo Ning asked Hook about the cost of making the spell scroll. This mainly involves Warcraft leather, magic core, and mana ink. After some calculations, the cost of making a 2nd level spell scroll is about 9 gold coins. In other words, the net profit from making a healing scroll is 8 gold coins per scroll, a 0% net profit. Even if there are a few production failures along the way, this transaction will not be a loss. This is Shanlin Town's second stable income project after Ironwood Workshop, and it's very exciting. Thanks to the Gothic Swastika Walking Warrior Master for the reward. I spent a lot of money. Thank you for all the votes. New. Chapter 58 Initial Cooperation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 58 Initial Cooperation. For Luo Ning, the purpose of walking into the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce was to shop, but this did not prevent him from obtaining a lot of information. In order to facilitate the deal, Hook told almost everything he knew and could tell. In addition to the prices of various commodities, Luo Ning discovered an interesting thing. The magic core. In his understanding, the magic core is the source of magic energy of Warcraft, similar to the function of a battery. After Hook's explanation, he had a deeper understanding of the role of the magic core. The magic core is a crystalline material. Even if it is ground, it will still be in the form of particles and can still react with mana. This is why it can be used as a material for mana ink. In addition, when a magician uses his mental power to perceive a complete magic core, he can sense the spell lines inside the magic core. This spell pattern is the key to Warcraft's ability to use magic, and it is also the origin of early magicians' mastery of spell patterns. When a Warcraft can use multiple magics, its magic core often has many spell patterns. These spell lines will be closely combined, and the magician needs to separate them. This is one of the daily research tasks of the magician. Through this kind of research, the probability of a magician mastering this magic can be greatly improved, which is much more effective than practicing by referring to a spell book. Luo Ning didn't have any feelings about this. After all, he mastered it after practicing several times with reference to the spell book, and he felt that learning magic was not too difficult. Maybe this is the difference between geniuses and ordinary people. In this way, the conversation lasted for a long time before both parties finally turned the topic back to shopping. Luo Ning didn't do ink, so he even asked to buy 5 purple magic crystals, 27 bottles of second-level magic ink, 6 pieces of second-level magic beast leather, small flame and fireball spell books. Magic crystals are used for first recharge. Spell ink and magic beast leather are materials pre-made by the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce for magicians to make spell scrolls. A 10 ml bottle of spell ink costs 1 level 2 spell scroll. A piece of Warcraft leather sells for 15 gold coins and can produce an average of 5 spell scrolls. The price of the 2 spell books is relatively cheap, basically equivalent to half of the spell scroll of the same level, and only costs 10 gold coins in total. The total consumption of these 4 types of items is 762 gold coins. The bulk of them are magic crystals, 5 worth 500 gold, and 1 spell ink, which cost only 90 gold coins. Luo Ning now has a total of 30 bottles of spell ink, and with 6 pieces of Warcraft leather, he can make 30 spell scrolls and earn back 510 gold coins. The more he spends, the more he earns. When Hook saw such a big order, his eyes were filled with stars, and he wished he could call Luo Ning grandpa. Of course, Luo Ning had to bargain a bit, and finally got 32 gold coins off. Along with that, he got a good quill pen and a book explaining the making of spell scrolls. When Luo Ning was sent out, all the salesmen on the first floor were alarmed. 1 or 2 of them looked at Luo Ning with the most enthusiastic eyes, especially some of the pretty waitresses. They just wished they had no chance, otherwise they all wanted to talk to Luo Ning. Walk outside the Chamber of Commerce building. Hook sent Ronan outside. Lord Luo Ning, it's settled. 1 month from now, that is, in early October, I will arrange a caravan to go to your territory. Welcome. Luo Ning smiled and stretched out his hand, shaking the other person's hand twice warmly in his dazed state. The proposal to let the Silva Magical Energy Merchant come to Hillwood Town was actually proposed by Hook. On the surface, he said it was to take away the newly made spell scrolls, but in fact, it was to continue selling spell ink and magic beast leather to Ronan. After all, even if Luo Ning makes 30 healing spell scrolls in the next month, the Chamber of Commerce will only make a few dozen gold coins in profit, but if he sells more magic ink to Luo Ning, he will make even more money. For Luo Ning, few chambers of commerce came to Shanlin Town. He can use the Silva Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce to promote it to the outside world, and it may have a good effect and make other chambers of commerce interested in Hillwood Town. As for the risks involved in the woodland passing through Shanlin Town, Luo Ning didn't need to worry about that. The Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce is the largest magician chamber of commerce in the kingdom, and its strength is self-evident. Arranging for a senior rider to pick up and deliver the goods, there will be no problem at all. let alone World of Warcraft. Even if Baron Layson from the Thane territory saw it, he would not easily provoke it. Watching Luo Ning and the others leaving, the smile on Hook's face never dissipated. He is lucky to meet such a financial sponsor. Get promoted. Hook was very excited when he thought about it. In his eyes, Luo Ning was a money tree, and it was a money tree facing him. Such a big customer must be reported to the Master of Basic Repair. Keith Hull is the general manager of the Silva Magic Chamber of Commerce branch in Muma City. He is a 5th-level chief magician who basically spends most of his time in the Chamber of Commerce building. Hook sorted out the receipts and gold coins, spiraled up the stairs, and climbed to the top floor, not to mention the matters on Hook's side. Luo Ning, who walked out of the Magic Energy Chamber of Commerce building, had already completed the main purchase in Muma City. The only things left to buy were wrought iron, farm tools, and going to the slave exchange to inquire about the price of slaves. Seeing that it was noon, Ronan took Elrond and McCann into the tavern where Tom and Gallon had agreed to meet. It's said to be a pub, but it's actually a hotel. But there are more people drinking in the lobby. As soon as he entered, noisy shouts and shouts rushed into Luo Ning's ears. This place was busier than the vegetable market in the morning. Luo Ning took a look and saw that most of the people eating and drinking in the hall were hunters and mercenaries. For these people who are used to taking risks and running around, being able to eat and drink with their friends is the happiest time. Therefore, most of them look particularly heroic when drinking, and speak louder, and some are used to using vulgar words. They are basically free people, with only a few special slaves who do not need to cultivate land. Although there are also professional knights among them, very few can reach the level of intermediate knights. Although they are extraordinary people, they have no ancestral background and no channels. It is difficult for them to get into the sight of nobles or big forces, and there is no channel to join them. After all, for some nobles, they are more willing to hire extraordinary people with unclear origins on a temporary basis rather than accept their allegiance. Luo Ning's mind flashed on whether to hire a few professional knights to deal with the Thane territory, but he was killed as soon as the idea came up. The business of mercenaries is mainly focused on escorting caravans, accepting specific commissions to hunt monsters, protecting certain characters, etc. If you want them to deal with noble territories, you can't do it unless you pay a huge price, and even if you pay, the other party will still evaluate the chances of winning and potential crises. If the chance of winning is slim and there is a possibility of offending a larger noble, no matter how much money you pay, the mercenaries will probably not be willing to die. In addition, due to the instability of mercenaries and the lack of loyalty of knights in the territory, once Ronan is hired, Baron Layson may have known his thoughts in advance before taking any action against Thane territory. But having said that, as long as these mercenaries have earned enough money, or their own strength has reached a certain level, or they have formed a strong mercenary group, they are still qualified to sit down and talk with the nobles. It is said that the leaders of the Black Gold Brotherhood and the Polish Thieves group who are active in the southeastern part of the Ozan territory started out as mercenaries. Now that the business is successful, it has not only occupied several cities in the southeast, but also left Wiggins and others with no choice. In short, nobles live like nobles, and common people live like common people. Most of the time, they don't interact with each other. Luo Ning paid 8 silver coins and asked the waiter to prepare an independent and spacious box for them, which blocked out most of the noisy sounds outside. He held 5 magic crystals in his hand, and at the same time took out the magic crystal trophies he got from Pedro from the space ring. The 6 magic crystals have been gathered, and now it's time to make the first charge. New. Chapter 5959 Redalmine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Number 5. Luo Ning opened the first recharge interface, and as his faith moved, a burst of purple light suddenly appeared on his palm. These rays of light wrapped around the 6 magic crystals in his hand as if they were about to melt. Soon, cracks appeared in the magic crystal, and then it shattered and turned into powder, then merged with the purple light and slowly disappeared. McCann and Elrond on the side looked at Ronan's operation in confusion, wondering what their master had done to these 6 expensive objects, which instantly disappeared into nothing. In Luo Ning's sight, the rewards on the first deposit interface have become available for collection. Although he was very heartbroken about this kind of spending a lot of money, in the end, the rewards were greater than the investment, and it was completely worth it. while Luo Ning received the first deposit reward with his mind, he silently prayed in his heart that the luxurious gift package in the reward would bring him an extra surprise. There is no way. The knight in the reward is a given, there are not many variables, all he can look forward to is the items in the luxury gift bag. In an instant, the first deposit reward was claimed, and the interface slowly disappeared from Luo Ning's field of vision. Since then, the only 5 interfaces of Goldfinger are monthly sign-in, attribute panel, and achievement master. When the interface disappeared, 2 lines of text simultaneously appeared in Luo Ning's field of vision. Attribute points plus 200. Energy essence plus 400. Luo Ning quickly scanned these 2 lines of numbers, with a relieved smile on his face. This gift pack really lives up to the word luxury. Compared with the heartwarming gift pack for sign-in and the high-quality gift pack for 7-day login, the rewards in the luxury gift pack are very generous. With 400 points of energy essence, it is enough to upgrade McCann's level progress to the peak of senior knight. In this way, he finally has 2 combatants in Shanlin town. If he saw Knight Felton from Thane again, Luo Ning wouldn't need to worry all the time and work hard to put on a show for him. While Ronan was smirking, the same magic array used to summon McCann and Elrin appeared simultaneously on the empty floor in front of him. There is only one difference this time. The light emitted from the magic array is purple with gold in it. It is not only more gorgeous than before, but also a bit more noble. After seeing this scene, McCann and Elrin finally reacted. It turned out that the Lord series of operations were used to summon new subordinates. They are also looking forward to what kind of person will come out this time. I saw a figure quietly appearing in the purple gold light. The man on the magic array diagram has short orange-red hair. Under the sunlight projected from the window, his face is illuminated like a beating flame. His face was resolute and clear-cut, and his deep sapphire blue eyes shone with confidence. He has a tall body and strong muscles. Set off by the dark blue leather shirt and the sharp sword on his back, he reveals his power to the outside world. Luo Ning was surprised that he had some background. Compared with McCann and Elrond, the characters summoned this time had an aura that he couldn't describe. What surprised him most was that as he called up the opponent's panel, he discovered that the initial level of the person in front of him was no longer elementary, 0/100, or 0/150, like McCann and Elrond, but yes, Redalmine, Advanced Knight Fire, 300/300, Luo Ning. The knight in front of him turned out to be a high-level peak, which was completely beyond Luo Ning's expectation. He was just planning to add all the 400 points of energy essence he obtained to McCann. Even if the new Redal has the qualifications to become the sun, he will have to lag behind in adding points at this stage. Who would have thought that the first recharge would bring him an extra surprise? Ruidal was directly at the top of the advanced level, and when he stared at the opponent's level progress and wondered why the opponent couldn't break through directly, he got a hint. Due to the restrictions of the master-servant contract, the strongest strength of the subordinates cannot be one step ahead of the master. According to the knight's training process, the levels are divided into 3 major levels. The first stage strengthens fighting spirit and is divided into primary, intermediate and advanced levels. The second stage is to cast the body to strengthen the body, which is divided into bronze, silver and gold. In the third stage, the will breaks through the limit, divided into shooting stars, silver moon, and scorching sun. The inability to lead by a large step mentioned here means that Ruidal will break through only when Luo Ning himself breaks through the first stage, and only then can Luo Ning add points to the opponent. This mechanism is the same as the card game produced by Luo Ning before his time travel. The level of the card character cannot exceed the account level, although there are restrictions. High-level peak knights are rare combat power for any baron. When Luo Ning was shocked by Redal's strength, the magic array slowly dissipated and the room returned to its original color. The tall figure knelt on one knee and offered sincere greetings to his master. I, the commander of the Flame Expeditionary Army, Redalmine, say hello to you, my master. The Flame Expedition. Luo Ning had a question mark on his face. What kind of army is this? Moreover, Redal also claims to be the commander-in-chief, which sounds like a very remarkable existence. Could it be that this knight with the blazing sun qualifications also has an unknown background story waiting for him to discover? His thoughts flashed by, and Luo Ning quickly helped him up. Welcome, Knight Redalmine. Hillwood Town will become stronger with you. On the side, McCann and Elrond also nodded to Redal. In the dark, they always felt that they had seen each other, but if they forced themselves to think about it, they couldn't remember it. You just said that you are the commander of the Flame Expeditionary Army. Can you introduce to me what kind of army this is? Luo Ning directly asked the doubts in his heart. In fact, he is still very curious about the historical background of these three extraordinary beings who were summoned. Rydal smiled slightly, and he acted relatively relaxed, which was different from when McCann and Elrond had just been summoned. The latter two were relatively more reserved, especially McCann, who had a more serious expression at the time, but the rider knight in front of him was different. He was more relaxed in front of Luo Ning. This is not to say that Redal is not loyal to Ronan, or that he does not respect his master. It means that this knight is very much like a subordinate in a high position. He is loyal and respectful to his master, but at the same time he can maintain his own style. Sir, actually I don't know. Redal shook his head, frowning and thinking, I only know fragmentary information about my identity, but that's all. Well, just like McCann and Elrond, Ronan originally wanted to dig out more information, but these are not important. Even if Redal and the others have an unknown historical experience, it is all in the past. Now they are just Ronan's subordinates, knights and magicians of Hillwood Town. You three can have a good communication from now on. Luo Ning motioned for the three of them to sit down around the round table. Rodal has advanced peak strength and is currently the greatest combat power. McCann couldn't help but look at the new knight. Sure enough, the aura on him was vaguely extraordinary. Don't worry, McCann, I will help you improve. Since he could no longer add points to Redal, Luo Ning could only use 400 points of energy essence on McCann or Elrond, although allowing Elrond to break through to a high level would allow the opponent to gain new magic. Considering the current urgent need for combat power in Hillwood Town, Luo Ning chose to maximize McCann's strength first. Without delay, he called up McCann's level panel and began to invest energy essence. In an instant, McCann felt that the power in his body was like a huge wave, surging. Macon Sally Tun, Senior Knight, Earth, 280 out of 300, Luo Ning once again felt the power of Golden Finger, its ability, and its breakthrough was as refreshing as drinking water. He left 20 points of room for improvement in McCann's level progress, mainly to allow McCann to improve through his own practice. In this way, it not only ensures that McCann's combat power is not low, but also allows Elrond to improve more. Thank you sir for the gift. McCann stood up, saluted and thanked Ronan solemnly, and at the same time looked at Redal with a hint of eagerness in his eyes. Sir, I also remembered some memories. McCann said suddenly, Luo Ning was stunned for a moment. What memory? Sir, in this memory, I am the leader of the 7th Knights of the Flame Expeditionary Army. New. Chapter 60 Overall Improvement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60 Overall Improvement. McCann's words stunned Ronan. After repeated inquiries, he confirmed that McCann really recalled a memory when his strength reached a high level. Although this memory, like Redal's, is only a very short fragment of identity, it is clearly telling Luo Ning that as long as the strength of the three subordinates in front of him is improved, their memories will slowly revive until they remember everything. What Luo Ning didn't expect was not just this. Redal said that he was the commander of the Flame Expeditionary Army, and McCann said that he was the leader of the 7th Knights of the Flame Expeditionary Army. In other words, McCann was once Redal's subordinate. Luo Ning couldn't help but laugh when he thought about this level. Why are the backgrounds of the summoned characters still connected after doing this? What kind of existence is the Flame Expeditionary Army? What experiences did Redal and McCann have, and what did they go to conquer? Ronan was very curious and couldn't help but look at Elrond beside him. Isn't this magician also from the Flame Expeditionary Army? Elrond spread his hands and responded to Ronan's confused look with a smile. Sir, I didn't think of anything. Maybe you can also improve my strength to a high level. The three summoned people, McCann and Rydal, have both become high-level knights, and he is the only one who has just stepped into the intermediate level. Even if Elrond is immersed in the light package all year round, he will feel envious in his heart. Ronan could naturally hear the envy and expectation in Elrond's tone, but now he could only laugh and spread his hands imitating the other person's appearance. I promise, it will be your turn next. But it may be a relatively long process, and there is no way for you to be directly promoted to a senior level like McCann. After completing the first charge, Luo Ning wanted to obtain hundreds of energy essences at once, and the only way was to complete achievements. However, achievements were not easy to complete, and it took some trouble. I'm looking forward to this slow improvement process. Elrond said. First increase your strength a little bit. Luo Ning had just consumed 315 points of energy essence on McCann's body, and there were still 85 points left to use. Now only Elrond was left to be added, and Ronan had no other better choice, so he invested all 85 energy points into the magician. As Elrond felt his mental power growing rapidly, his level progress reached 89/300. It has to be said that magicians are rare compared to professional knights, and even the overall progress is reflected. A high-level knight requires 300 points of energy essence, while an intermediate magician requires 300 points. Thank you for your blessing, sir. May the light be with you. The pleasure of improvement was the same for everyone, and Elrond was in an extremely happy mood at this time. Refining your magic power when you have free time. Luo Ning smiled and said, most of the Warcraft leather and spell ink I just bought are from you. When we return to the territory, your main task will be to make the healing spell scroll. Compared with the healing spell scroll, the wind blade spell is a little worse. In order to pursue maximum profits, Luo Ning had no choice but to torture Elrond and let him make more spell scrolls. Of course, he would also draw 2 pieces of Warcraft leather to learn how to make spell scrolls. After all, mastering a skill is not a bad thing. Diamond Suit. After solving the problem of Elrond's strength, Ronan began to add points to himself. As a lord, with 2 high-level peak knights under his command, his personal demand for combat power has been reduced a lot compared to before, considering that he would need to practice wind blade technique and fireball technique in the next period of time, as well as make spell scrolls, which would have a great demand on the magician's mental power and mana. Luo Ning invested all 201 attribute points in the progress of the magician level. After one operation, he felt as if his soul was soaring to the sky, as if he had an orgasm. Look at his properties panel again. Level 2 Intermediate Knight, 12/200, 2 Intermediate Magician, 201/300. For Intermediate Knights, Fighting Spirit will flow out from the Fighting Spirit seeds in the heart, spread out in the knight's body, and gradually form a complete Fighting Spirit system. When the Doqi veins gather at the Qi Sea and break through the Qi Sea in one fell swoop, opening up the link between Doqi seeds, Doqi veins and the Qi Sea, this means that the knight has crossed over from the intermediate level to the advanced level. Luo Ning sensed it, and the Doqi veins in his body just stretched out a little bit from the Doqi seeds, and there was still a long way to go before looking towards the sea of Qi in his abdomen. Compared with the transformation of the knight's body, the practice of the magician is relatively simple. Their main purpose is to strengthen their mental power and expand their mana space, and they do not need to make too many changes to their bodies. As long as the mental power increases, the mana space will become larger. Subsequently, the mana that the magician can refine will increase, and the number of spells that can be cast will also increase. After the pleasure brought by the improvement in strength disappeared, Luo Ning smiled and motioned for everyone to sit down. Ruodal, what fighting skills do you have now? Redal is a knight with the fire attribute, and the fighting skills he has mastered can also be learned by Luo Ning in the future. Sir, I currently only have 2 fighting skills, the general fighting skills, Flame Slash and Fire Cloud. Flame Slayer Ronan knew it, and Prince had control of it. This Fire Cloud fighting technique was explained by Redal. It is a range-based fighting technique. It is said that a single sweep of the sword can form a flame impact like a spreading fire cloud, defeating a group of enemies in front of it. However, this fighting skill consumes a lot of fighting spirit, and generally only senior knights can use it freely. I also have Fire Fist Bombing that an intermediate knight can learn. As Luo Ning spoke, he took out the fighting spirit secret book Fire Fist Bombing and handed it to Ruodal. The latter took it and looked through it twice, then clenched his fist. Buzzed on Ruodal's fist, the red fighting spirit condensed into a beating flame, exuding a faint power. Luo Ning couldn't help but take the secret book back in embarrassment. Well, Redal is indeed a talented person with outstanding qualifications. He can use the fighting skills that Prince has not mastered at a glance. You learn so fast. Luo Ning couldn't help but give a thumbs up. When he was learning this fighting skill, he tried several times before he succeeded. Redal stopped running his fighting spirit, and the flames on his fists disappeared instantly. This fighting technique emphasizes the control of fighting spirit. When the fighting spirit changes into fire attribute, it must be controlled to condense on the fist, and at the same time, it must not cause damage to one's own skin. He explained, I am good at the detailed control of fighting spirit, and I am extremely proficient in the use of flame slash. In addition, I have advanced peak strength, so it is not difficult to master it. What he said made McCann next to him envious. His qualifications were lower than Redal's. If he were given the same fighting skills, he thought he wouldn't be able to master it in an instant like Redal. Ruodal, tell me, if you have strong control over your fighting spirit, can you create your own fighting skills? Luo Ning felt that Redal's knowledge of fighting spirit was higher than that of McCann, so he couldn't help but ask his doubts. Magicians cast spells through spell lines, but fighting skills do not. It purely relies on the knight's fighting spirit and ability to control fighting spirit to form moves. Theoretically, most fighting skills are possible. Ruodal nodded in agreement, but there are fighting skill secrets that can be analyzed and introduced in detail. This can greatly reduce the cost of trial and error and shorten the time for the knight to master this fighting skill. Luo Ning nodded slightly. This is indeed the truth. Some fighting skills secret books also have many experience explanations by predecessors, which are of great help to beginners. Ruodal, McCann, how about we find a place to spar on the way back? Although in terms of level progress, Redal is 20 points ahead of McCann, the gap is not big, but the level progress is not the real combat power, so Luo Ning is very curious about the combat level of the two of them. Redal and McCann looked at each other with fighting intent in their eyes. As you wish, my lord. The two readily accepted Luo Ning's proposal.